right, we are
Working.
in. And alrighty. All right, can everybody sees the screen? We're good to go, right? Good to jump in?
Hmm.
Let me start my presentation timer. And all right, so welcome. This is my very first writing workshop, tapping into divinity. It's really cool series of events that led me here. Naomi here in our group. She and I used to work together a couple of months ago, and I stepped away to step into my speaking and writing and just creative expression career, actually my calling. And I've been having a lot of fun. And Naomi has been just a faithful friend along the way. And so she reached out and asked if I was interested, and I said, nope, I don't think that's, I don't think I can do that. But then she changed it up. She explained to me really what it was, and I just jumped in, and I am so excited to do this. I hope and believe that it's going to be a transformative experience because I know it will be for me. I know myself, I know the way that I run energy, and I know what I've been called to do. So if you're here and you're ready and willing and able, then just really enjoy the ride. Again, this is a very casual time together because we're going to be tapping into some of the parts of ourselves that we probably don't really tap into very regularly. Even if we are creatives, there's still there's a certain psyche switch we get to make sometimes when we tap in a little deeper. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and click through my slide deck here, and I'm a facilitator. I'm going to start not with what's on the screen. I'm just going to talk to you guys. I'm a natural facilitator. I've homeschooled all my children. My oldest is 18, my youngest is 9. I have to have some sort of something to kind of keep me on track because I am extremely creative. So I do have a slide deck in front of us that I will use to kind of help progress through this. And I'm going to explain what the roadmap is going to look like. But first, allow me to truly, truly introduce who I am. My name's Tasha Salinas, and I am an embodiment visionary. And I know that's kind of wild and crazy, but I actually invented the term, invented the title, invented the phrase, because where I believe I am to be, or who I believe myself to be, is an embodied conscious being. I have had a tremendous number of spiritual awakenings to where now I'm very excited and happy to convey that I'm actually a divine channel, a channel for divine wisdom. And I've been given so much information and insight into the matrix of reality, to the way that the human psyche, human consciousness works, and how that is manifest in our bodies and expressed out into the world. And I know that's super lofty, but essentially, I've just been given a gift to convey divine information. And so generally, I use words to communicate that message, but every frequency that comes out of me, honestly, when I'm allowing myself to be in that space that we're going to get to today, every frequency that comes out of me is actually divine channeling, and I know the difference because I can feel it. So we're going to talk about that. I did want to point out that February is Black History Month, and as a brown-skinned woman, it means the world to me to be able to say that God speaks through me, because historically, the brown woman has been at the bottom of most hierarchies. It's true. I mean, welcome to America. Let me just stop there. And so when I say when we get to tap into our creativity, there are generations upon generations of pain that have been made manifest through the articulation of people that look just like me. And so when I say it's an honor to be here, I tremendously mean it is an honor to be here and being able to express my absolute truth. I'm also claircognizant, and what that means is my brain and my psyche has the ability to receive conscious information from the center of the galaxy. I have an intuitive knowing of certain things, and it doesn't make logical sense until I back it up and start trying to research and put two and two together. And so, after tiring myself trying to always get the answers to how do I know these things, I just let go and released and understood that trust is the key to unlocking our access to divinity, and we'll get there as well. So I'm claircognizant. I'm also an ordained minister. Yes, I'll marry you if you'd like. You just have to ask for free. Donations accepted. And I just believe in love. I believe that you are love. I believe that I am love, and love is what makes this world go round, what makes everything spin. And so I'm happy to be a unifying voice for the message of love. Words, 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 words. Again, that's my gifting. That's my expression. That's my preferential way of just allowing divinity to flow through me. And so because of that, I really am happy to hold both hands of humanity and divinity and just be the example of who we are all meant to be on this earth. So that was one hell of an introduction, self-introduction. But as I speak, just know that at the end of this, I will re-offer my card to you. It's that bit.ly link down there. There's certain things that I say that pique people's curiosity. So whether it's about this creative workshop or this creative writing workshop or anything that I say, just know that you will have the opportunity to connect with me one-on-one if you so choose. I'm not sales pitching nothing. I just understand that we are all on a soul journey, and every now and then we need a little bit of help, and we'd like a little bit of help. And so I'm happy to be available to you for that. So anyway, as I click in the wrong direction, the schedule and the flow for this evening is I actually made it out to be 90 minutes. But you guys are creatives. Oh, as I hit the mic, you guys are creatives, and you know how that goes. So I'm just going to go ahead and call it what it is. It's creative time. At most, we're at the very, very latest, we're ending at 8:30. Like that's a hard, absolute stop. But I, in my mind, am thinking closer to about 8:15. Give us a little bit of wiggle room. And what I'm thinking is the first 20 minutes are intellectual stimulation. I just kind of want to till the soil and get your minds like till the soil. I don't know how better to say it. Get your minds ready and engaged for what we're going to do. And then creative introspection. That is actually a guided imagery, maybe meditation, if you want to call it that. It is a way, a container that I'm going to actually use for you to feel safe enough to call to, oh my gosh, talking is hard, isn't it though? It's a space that I will use to create safety to where you can allow your left brain, your logic, your reason to just pause and allow us to kind of dip more into that right side. We're going to talk about it, but then actually tap into our subconscious or even the superconscious. Anyway, that's what we're going to do for 10 whole minutes. And then we're going to write. We're going to have that divine expression. And that's 20 minutes. That's a container that I will also hold. I will be conducting all of this. And then after that, we will have an opportunity to share roughly about 15 minutes. But again, all of those little numbers are a little fluid, but I know there are some of us that like to have a roadmap to where we're going. So that's kind of where we're headed. That's our schedule, but that's also our flow. And ultimately, the wisdom you seek is already within you. Tonight, you're going to hear it. So with that, let's dive in. We're going to start with the operant power. You are the operant power. The title of this workshop is Tapping into Divinity. And I chose that because what we're going to do, the objective of this workshop is to go from thinking to being to receiving and then to writing. So you were created to create. You were created by whatever you believe that you came from, whether it be God or source or the Big Bang or whatever it was. We cannot deny the fact that you were created and that you were created to create, because what gives us the most joy is when we're creating new life, sometimes when we're just dancing, when we're seeing, when we're laughing, when we're doing anything. We were created to create. When we were kids, that's all we did. We played and we made creations and we had imaginations and we had imaginary friends. But this society and this matrix of reality on purpose programmed us to have to survive. So then that we start to look at doing versus being. You were created to be and exist and just have fun and enjoy the fruits of this world, of this dimension. But we were programmed to survive, where we were taught life and death, good and bad, right and wrong, a dimension of duality. But the reality is, once again, you are a conduit. We get to be the middle of humanity and duality, and that's our purpose as human beings. So the joy of the journey of soul ascension, of tapping into divinity, is understanding that you don't find the truth, you remember it. And I'm a former pastor in the Christian church. And while I believe that I have transcended those ideologies, I do feel that there was wisdom that the Christian church has in some of their teachings. And the reason I bring that up is because we were on a Christian founded society, just going to call it what it is. The The issue I find with this is we are told to outsource our power, when in reality, we have always held the power because prayer, meditation, whatever your religious or spiritual beliefs are, we go inside to access that source. And so when we allow ourselves to transcend the thinking, we understand that we're just accessing what's already inside of us, like our wisdom. So you're not here to figure it out. You're here just to be your fullest self. And it's the unlearning process. So moving on, we're going to look at thought. And so thought is it's just a wonderful thing that our brain has been created to do. So Rene Descartes, a French philosopher, says, "I think, therefore I am." And that's such a beautiful idea. And we've played with that forever, for hundreds of years. The issue with the mind is that it's a problem solver. Our mind, our brain is a tool created to solve problems. The mind portion of the brain sees anything in our dimension and says, how can I fix that? How can I prevent that thing from killing me? Kill or be killed, right? We have to solve the problem. We have to satisfy the karma. We have to just figure it out. That's what the mind does. It solves problems. When we were Neanderthal, all the way up to right about now, the conscious ability of the human psyche only could exist in survival. So we were living to stay alive as opposed to understanding that we are eternal. So we now, where we are in the evolution of human consciousness, is that we are able to tap into the no mind space, the space where the mind gets to rest, the space where we can actually stop the survival mechanism and go into being. However, the transition from being mind to no mind, the transition from having our conscious and our subconscious, the transition from the veil, if we want to go back to religious teachings, the difference is allowing the transition to happen sends the mind into a tailspin. Because again, the mind was conditioned for survival. So if it's not necessary, then we have this thinking capacity that starts to get a little scared, starts to feel like panic. Our thoughts start to feel slippery. And we now recognize that as anxiety. That's what happens when we start to slip in the no mind space. And I'm not going to go down the rabbit trail of what happens when we start to experience anxiety, but generally we start grasping for things outside of us. If you've ever caught yourself in a panic attack, you know the only thing that will grab you is yourself and coming back down to the breath and getting grounded. And it's something you can have a stimulus on the outside, but ultimately you control your mind and you start to harness that power. And anxiety is a natural part of the evolutionary process of releasing the mind. And there's a reason I'm landing on this so hard. That also creates a sense of powerlessness. And when we allow ourselves for just a moment to be powerless, then we understand that we are everything. When we let go of grasping, when we let go of everything and we hold nothing and give ourselves permission to transcend thought, we start to experience no mind, which is oneness, which is actually your power. When you're allowing your mind to stop movement altogether, that's when you tap into a sensation of divinity. In the East, they call it samadhi, this place of nothingness. There's just a certain stillness that we get to. Now, I'm not going to get nerdy, but what we do is we actually slow down our brain waves to the state to where we're actually right before sleep. When you go to sleep, you nod off, you're unconscious, you're out for the count, okay? Just before that, you're in the theta brainwave state where you're in this liminal and if you allow yourself to stay there and you practice releasing and not holding on to any thoughts that come through, that's when we experience that sensation of oneness. And we can cultivate that more and more, but we're going to touch it tonight. So moving on, looking at the deep well. So how do we actually enter nonlinear reality? So when we go from mind to no mind, that's that slippery place that if we allow ourselves to breathe through any potentially anxious feelings, that's where we really get to tap in to linear reality. So if the left brain is kind of like our map, then the right brain is kind of like the ocean. You don't construct wisdom and you don't find it on a map from A to B or point A to Z or whatever. We're not doing that when we tap into the deep well of divinity. We actually just receive it. We actually just allow. Because as you allow and you release holding, striving, ceasing, efforting, you actually enlighten. You become lighter. Your energy becomes lighter and more buoyant. You actually are allowed and allowing your mind to rest and your body to have its innate wisdom come to the fore. So when we start looking at expression, when we tap into that space, and now we're looking at what do we do with that? What's the reason for that? Well, expression is simply the energy that's captured in a specific medium. So you get to decide how you want to express yourself or express your energy. The beauty of expression, especially creative expression, is that it does bypass logic. Expression, creative expression from the deep well of our subconscious or even divinity, depending on how you decide to define it. It's raw, it's direct, and it's true. And you get to allow it to flow. And we're going to talk about how we and why we prevent it from flowing. But with allowance, it just simply flows through you. Again, you are a conduit. Your energy, your soul can never be destroyed. And so with that, you get to fully express, just like the Big Bang, just like singing, just like having a baby, just like orgasm, whatever that is, that thing that comes up from inside of you, letting it out is incredibly healing. And when you understand and when you tap in, and we're all on the journey to ascension, I believe that every single human being on earth right now has the opportunity and the offering to receive abundance, knowingness of who you are. And I'm talking gnosis, gnosis with a G, gnosis, true transcendental gnosis. Again, at the top of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we can transcend that should we allow it to happen. So that's kind of the deep well. That's the idea. And this is all a setup. This is all the instruction to till the soil, excuse me, to get your psyche going. So the key to tapping in is absolutely trust. Know yourself, trust yourself, express yourself. The issue with trust is that you have to, once again, decide to allow your mind to release. And when you do that, and you really allow yourself to sit there, it's a gentle correction. When we start to tap in and go silent and really get into the space to channel, our mind will set aside. And I'm going to lead us in a guided imagery of how that will happen. But you must allow, I say must, because that's the key. If you face a door that's locked and you just keep pushing on it, because there's something you have to do with this to really understand that you are a channel of higher, pure, divine wisdom. You have to unlock the key with trust, unlock the lock with trust. And anything that arises is meant for you. You cannot conjure up something that's not meant for you. And what I mean by that is it's not meant for you to weigh it pros and cons. It's a message for you that's meant to be on your piece of paper or in your song or in your vocal expression or whatever that is. There's a reason for that, and it will make sense to you. And it's the beautiful thing that Carl Jung talks about, synchronicity. And it might not be the message for you, but it comes through you, and you will be the blessing to somebody else through your divine expression of your creative work. And it's meant for you to nourish you. So you'll see here in a moment when we do kind of tap in and we do go under, there's something that happens to our actual physical bodies. Our heart rate slows down. Inflammation starts to decrease. Your emotions start to lift. You start to relax a little bit. You start to realize your shoulders don't belong that close to your earlobes. When you tap into divinity and you allow it to pour over you, it is the healing energy. It is the absolute healing energy. We, back again, when we pray or when we're tapping into spirituality and we're really highly believing and healing and believing in our dreams coming true, there's an energy that runs that makes faith happen. When you have a dream or a desire or a creative something in your heart, did you ever think it was possible that you could actually open the door and let it out? therefore making your dreams come true, allowing yourself to receive your dreams. It's possible. And I'm not saying that because I want to sell you something. I got nothing to sell. I got nothing to sell. Making $0.00. I'm running on backup energy. Y'all know that. But I'm saying this because I'm living it. I quit my job 3 months ago. I have no idea how I've been paying my bills, but I've been paying my bills and I have a good amount of money in my savings account because of it. It doesn't make sense. But there's something inherently healing about allowing our divine energy to flow through our bodies and out of our bodies, whether it be tonight in a little 20-minute writing exercise or for the next 20 years of your life. It's your choice. So understanding that the key to tapping in is trust, then understand also that you will hear a voice, and that voice is yours. It's yours. Even if it sounds different, even if it sounds like Aunt so-and-so or cousin such and such or dude at the playground in second grade, whatever voice or however it comes to you, it is your voice. It is your higher self choosing to express, to answer your prayer, to solve the intent that you placed in opening yourself up for creative expression. And just trust and understand that your voice is the one. It comes through, however that is, and you know it. There's a gut knowing, oh, this is good. And sometimes you just flow and you don't even know what's flowing until you're done, until you go back and you read it. So when we get to that space, when we first tap in there in our psyche and we let go, our body might react, even though it doesn't seem to make sense. So reactions, doubt, giggles, tears, discomfort, joy, glee, all of these emotions are energies that are trapped in our body. Emotions are simply energy in motion. So when you start to allow yourself to tap into your deep creative well, first of all, that's your sacral chakra. So there's some people that do get turned on, and that's perfectly normal. That's actually kind of what we want. And we start getting our energy flowing and it's moving up like our spinal column. There's like juices and things that are actually flowing. That's why we call it getting in the flow. But when that happens, there might be like funky energies. So when we do our practice here in a little while, just understand doubt, giggles, tears, things might come up. Let it, you're safe. And I'm going to hold on to that. I went way long on that slide. So we're just going to pause for a minute. How are we doing? How's everybody doing? Are we good? Anybody need anything? Okay, good. I was in a zone right then and I looked at the time and I'm going to honor our time. So does anybody have any questions before we jump into our grounding practices and our creative time? Guess not. Okay. All right, all right, all right. Okay, so the creative expression. So this is where I'm going to talk to you about the experience we're going to get into. So here in a moment, the experience we're going to get into is going to be a grounding practice, a guided imagery, meditation, visualization, whatever you want to call it. But let me tell you really quickly. When we when we introspect with the intention of being creative, what's most important is that we feel safe. Because what we will do is we will start to remove our reliance on the different senses of our body. So we might close our eyes. We might choose to eliminate the sounds that are going on around us, and the brain will try to distract you. And I'm just telling you that now so that you're not surprised when it happens, because the brain will try to distract from the original abandonment wound. If the brain isn't needed, if it can distract you, then it can keep finding problems to solve and, shopping lists to make and, issues to have or critiques to make or judgments to pass over people. And that's by design. So as a channel, sometimes when I am leading people in meditations or imagery or whatever it is, sometimes I'll slip into light language. And if I do that, I don't want you to be alarmed. It's just sounds, flutters that come just kind of naturally out of me. And what they are is sometimes when we have an image going on or a thought or something in our psyche, in our minds, and we need to want to go a little higher, sometimes words keep us anchored to the ground, anchored to this dimension, and we're tapping into divinity. So if there's a flutter, if there's a or just random sounds that come out, understand that those are by design to transcend your psyche and that you will only receive what you're meant to receive. It's impossible for me to violate your free will. So just understand that those sounds might be activating, but just know that they matter. And I'm going to lead us through this whole experience. Um, Another thing that to be mindful of, and this is called psychic hygiene, so don't get spooked, but hygiene of the psyche, that's all it is that too high of a cognitive input will trigger the brain and potentially short circuit your nervous system. And all that means is that you might tap into anxiety and you are perfectly safe. The brain will tell you not to do that ever again. And the reality is your thoughts, you can't think yourself to death. That is the number one mantra that I say when I start to feel anxious, when I start to feel ungrounded. Because when you elevate, when you tap into divinity, you are not grounded. But we get to remind ourselves that we're still in our body, but our minds are traveling. And so that's just kind of, these are the mental crochet hooks that we get to play with sometimes. So understanding that the reason why we start to feel a little slippery when that happens, go back to your breath. Come back to your breath. You are perfectly safe. You can't think yourself into danger necessarily, not during a mindful practice. I'm also looking at my notes here just to make sure. Oh, and one more thing about any sounds that I might make. Think of an infant and a mother's holding, the little baby, a month old, 2 months, 6, 8 weeks old, whatever, holding the baby. There's a lot of singing. There's a lot of there's a lot of soothing vibrations. And so that's kind of what we do. And so sometimes when I am in flow, especially if I'm writing, I might hum. I might hum while I write. And there's certain nourishing, soothing frequencies that come from where we came from, much like the mother and the infant. Sometimes those higher frequencies kind of want to come through us. And so they come out in our hands and in our throats and in our hearts. You might feel your heart flutter. You might feel, I often feel my lower tummy, like there's like butterflies in there. And I just know that I'm tapping in. So your body will have certain signals just to convey what it's like when you get to lose yourself in the ethereal. So with that being said, I'm actually going to move us on to our time of writing. So in my plan, I have 20 minutes for this. Or sorry, this is the 5 minute. I'm sorry. This is before we actually get into our writing. So I would like to invite you just to take a look at the screen. It's
I
not
think we
playing.
lost you for 30 seconds, maybe, Tasha.
Okay. Where are we at now?
You had just started the video and the screen froze, the video froze, but now we're all back together.
Okay, we're all back together. Well, then I'll just jump in as if we didn't miss anything. So this is going to be our grounding experience. So I would like to keep your piece of paper nearby, but we're not using it right now. We're just kind of going to tap in and unplug our brain for a minute. So I'd like to invite you to, if you'd like, you can actually close your turn off your camera if you're more comfortable. Go ahead and find yourself seated in whatever position feels comfortable. And I would like to invite you to either gaze at the screen or you can close your eyes if you'd like. And the reason I put this particular imagery on the screen is because it will not affect your thought process. So I'd like to invite you to feel the relaxation that your body's naturally falling into at this right now moment. Take a deep breath in through your nose, all the way up to the crown of your head, and just let it fall away. Go ahead and do that one more time, in through the nose and out through the mouth. And just take a moment and notice what you feel in your body. Maybe you feel the seat under your thighs. Maybe you feel your heartbeat. I'd like to invite you to bring your attention to the soles of your feet and how you are anchored in place and how you are safe. Now bring your attention to your left shoulder. Mm. How about your right shoulder? Now see if you can feel both shoulders at the same time. Now imagine, if you will, that suddenly your elbows got really heavy and they're pulling those shoulders away from your earlobes, like we talked about earlier. Take a deep breath in through your nose. And on your exhale, I want you to imagine exhaling all the way down, maybe out your seat, feeling the weight. Now, if you can imagine the seat beneath you, holding you tight, holding you steady. And we're going to do a quick body scan as I talk through being extremely present in the right now moment. So I'd like to bring your attention to the area above the crown of your head. And there's nothing there. Just bring your attention there and notice your gentle attention, how it follows the sound of my voice. Now bring your attention to the crown of your head and start to open your awareness to different sensations at the crown of your head. Maybe feeling your heartbeat. Now bring your attention down your forehead, down the back of your head, between your eyebrows. Slide your focus down the tip of your nose. Take a deep breath into your nose and allow it to fall away, and see if you can allow gratitude to come in for this soft, still experience. Now we're going to remind our mind that we're just thinking as our focus slides down our jaw and maybe opens it just a hair. Bring your attention down your throat, down your chest, down your tummy. And we're just going to hold our attention at our hips, just like our seat is holding us in the moment. Deep breath in and fill your belly full of oxygen. And let it fall away like the ocean goes back and forth. Allow your attention to slide over your thighs, over your kneecaps, down your legs, down your shins, and out the bottom of the floor. Now that we are present and mindful, I want to ask you to just sit with yourself for a moment in your presence, in your stillness. And I want to bring to your awareness your power. You are powerful. There's something about you that brought you here tonight, that desired the reminder of who you are. And you are powerful beyond measure. And there was a reason that's not so dark, but there's a reason why you didn't know it until recently. Because your power is meant to be multiplied, it's meant to be expressed. And before you knew the weight of your divinity, you weren't ready for the massive expression of power of your fullest self. But yet, you're here tonight and something brought you. So there's a question, there's an intention that wants to be expressed. So here in a moment, I'm going to invite you, not yet, but here in a moment, I'm going to invite you to express what might come to you after I say these words. Sit with yourself And we are going to set the intention to receive a message of where is my power? Who has power over me? Hmm. Where have I given my power away? And what's the most loving way to reclaim my power and operate from this moment forward as my fullest, powerful self? So, with that, I would like to invite you to grab your writing utensil and your paper. Feel free to turn your camera on if you would like, but just gently transition from this moment to this next right now moment. And I'm going to set a timer and allow you just to express for the next 15 to 20 minutes and just let it flow. Do not think, just go. I'm watching the clock. Enjoy. As you continue writing, I'm just going to remind you of the prompts. Where is my power? Who has power over me? Where have I given my power away? And what's the most loving way to reclaim my fullest self? I want to encourage you to take the full time. We still have about 12 more minutes. So just keep writing, let it flow, and don't stop. You're doing a great job. That's it. You're doing a great job. Keep going. We've got about 8 more minutes. You've got plenty of time. Last messages will come through as you just gaze at the movement. 5 more minutes, 4 more minutes. All right, we've got about one more minute and then I'm going to call you back. When you're ready, go ahead and find your way back to share maybe what sensations came to mind or came to body, or kind of what sensations came to you, maybe what impressions you received, any deep wisdom, any seeds of divinity, or just anything you'd like to share. Chat. I would love to talk with you, a free 30-minute chat just to dig deeper. And I call it enlightenment coaching. And so I do have packages and stuff like that. We could talk about it later on. But if you're just kind of feeling a little slippery in your psyche and wondering what the hell's going on, it's a soul journey. And if you need assistance, I'm happy to be your guide. But for tonight, that's all I have for you. And I would like to thank you for coming and thank you for having me.